What is going on, guys? And tonight we are back in the mix. We are playing some Dirty Dozen for you guys tonight. Love this mix. Badugi ace to 5, Raz ace to 5. Ace to 5 Raz, excuse me. No limit single draw, limit 08, limit hold'em 7 card stud. Badugi no limit. Badugi, stud 8, deuce 7 triple draw, and PLO. The no limit single draw, the PLO, and the no limit are capped. And I really like this mix. First off, it's a great mix because besides the Badugi and the Badugi, I actually think you have the 10-game mix in here. I think the 10-game mix is in here, the 8-game mix is in here, horse is obviously in here. They just throw Badugi and Badugi in here as kind of something else. But this is a really good mix if you guys are looking to play tournaments during the summer to learn some games. I also in the future might be setting up some small, like even if it's 50 cent, $1, $2, $1, $2, $2, $4 games, just for people to learn, do like some explaining. You can record it. Like if you want to play in those games and record it and send to me, the same deal still applies. Anyone who has a Phenom account, you can record up to 1 hour. Send it to me. I will review it with you, or I will review it and then post it to YouTube so we can all learn together. Mentioning that if you guys are looking to open a Phenom account, I have a link below. Please click on that. That helps the channel. That helps motivate me to keep doing my thing, as I thoroughly enjoy it. Playing Badugi here. So we're playing 5-4-3-2-1 is the best low. 4-3-2-1 is the best Badugi. This is a split pot game with no qualifier, meaning that there will always be 2 pots. Half goes to the best ace to 5 hand. Half goes to the best Badugi hand. Aces do play low in this game. Sorry, I was answering a text. Jack here in the small blind, but this is not going to be a play. Be kind of an interesting in a single draw. Oh, he went in. Interesting. I don't think it would have changed my strategy, but yeah, I mean, again, for the most of these, I would say like every single one of these games where there's a button involved. PLO is obviously the one game where you probably should have a limping range, given the big ante. But given that there's no antes in any of the games with a button besides that one, deuce to 7. Well, okay, so deuce to 7 single draw does have an ante. No limit hold'em has an ante. So I'm actually misspoken here when I say that. But usually in no limit deuce to 7 single draw, you're forced to open to raise in a tournament. I don't know if that's the case on here. I haven't even tried that, I think, just because I'm so used to open raising. Obviously, no limit hold'em, if you've looked at the solves for the most part, I don't think even at like a 1.5 big blind ante, you do much limping. So usually you're still just open raising, maybe even just small, but hoping that your opponents overfold. But yeah, if you're going to be playing any of these games, Badugi. So let's see here. Let's just run this game off real quick since we're not playing this hand. If you're playing Badugi, deuce to 7 triple draw, Badugi, limit 08, limit hold'em. If you're going to open in those games, just open for a raise. Don't open for a limp. That's something that I've actually don't know if I've talked about in mixed fixed or not. But honestly, I mean, that's if you're doing that, one of the easiest ways to make like a big EV change is just to throw the limps out in those specific games. Ace 5, 6 here. We are going to play this one. 3 cards to a 6. Block an extra 5. And we have my soul 3 card. And draw 2. And we improved to ace 2, 5, 6. And I think this is close against the draw 3. I think we're going to bet, and then I think we're going to just take 1 in position. And he takes 1, which is kind of funky, but I think we still have some showdown value immediately with the ace 2, 5. So we are going to keep it now at a 1-1 spot. We do have equity here, keeping the 10, but I still think we have more equity in Badugi by drawing. We do improve to number 3. I'm going to raise the number 3 low here with an ace 2, 5, just in case he's making a pretty thin bet. He did make a pretty thin bet with ace 2, 3 in a pair of 6s. I actually don't mind his bet, just because when I check back, it's very unlikely that I have a Badugi. I could have a rough Badugi in that situation and decided to check back after the 1-1, just because he decided not to check raise me. But I think the majority of my range there is 3 cards. But I think number 3 low, given the fact I also saw an extra 5, probably makes it warranted to get the extra raise in there. So Raz ace to 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is the best hand in this game. Again, we've said this a lot in the stud games, but boards are going to be relative, so your hand strength is going to be relative. You just need to know like what the best hand is in case, you know, you get in a really close like range on range situation like at the bottom. But where, you know, 2 people can have very nutty hands. But in general, I would say, you know, it's just really going to matter what the up cards are, the dead cards, your opponent's range, etc. So we'll discuss as we go along. I'm just checking in on one of the other mixed games. I'm not going to play it right now. I'm just looking around to see what's going on. Yeah, tonight, triple draw, a couple different mixes, no limits. Limit. Yeah. Slowly growing. Be interesting to see when they have tournaments. Obviously here, like 3 cards to wheel on 5th Street is a super strong board. Even though Slinks here has a strong board himself with 3 and 8. And the other, you know, like he has an 8, but the other 2 cards are really important on his board as well, because he can have a wheel draw here. He can have a draw to the nuts. Yeah, and that tends to be a super strong race here too. When you're raising, this is something to actually like pick up on too. Is he raised into 5-3 deuce? So obviously Coco here has 3 wheel cards, and Zoinks has 2 wheel cards. And he made the raise into that board. And so when you see that, usually that is going to result in a pretty strong hand at showdown. There are bluffs. So say like Zoinks here has his board is actually probably bad to consider this, but say he had like ace. He said he had like 4-8 deuce instead of 8-3 deuce. And the reason why I say that is because the deuce and the 3 don't block Coco's range. Let's say in the situation like Zoinks somehow his board is like 4-8 deuce, you know, queen, and then whatever the river is. And in that situation, I'm going to fold the buried pair here. In that situation, he somehow gets the river with like aces and 4s, you know. So now he has like aces and 4s, and Coco's board is 5 deuce 3. Well, he's blocking Coco from having an extremely strong hand because he's blocking the 4s and the aces, and Coco needs both to make it. So those are the type of bluffs that occasionally you're looking to make. You shouldn't do it too often, because I think like obviously in most stud games your opponent's just going to get to the river. Even here with 2 to wheel card, I'm going to fold with a 5 and a 4 behind me, the face card underneath. Probably Mr. Shadow situation. I would go ahead and raise my hand, but I'm going to fold. because in stud games, you got to remember there's an extra big bet street, meaning Fifth Street, 6th Street, 7th Street. They are all big bet streets. So the pot's going to be really big usually if there's just bets on every single street. So by the time you get there, if you get raised and you have a mediocre hand, like the majority of the time your opponents are just going to call you anyways. Didn't get to really play anyone here when we really had was a steal opportunity that we did not take. And most likely Coco paired 5s. But Zoinks there has basically a free steal. All right, no limit deuce 7 single draw cap. We haven't played this game too much. Actually, I was gonna see if I could I was gonna see if I could just limp. I want to see if that's an option. I haven't even considered that, to be completely honest, because I think it actually might slightly change the game a little bit. I'm not quite sure how it does. Because in general, if you're playing no limit single draw deuce and a 40 big blind cap, I think I've mentioned this before, there's not a lot of maneuvering. I mean, a lot of times, like there's definitely hands where you could just go raise and then person shoves at 40 bigs. I see it a little bit occasionally at the no limit game and the no limit cap game, but it's just not. It's a little bit rare. So in this game, no limit deuce 7 single draw. Again, the best hand is 7 5 4 3 deuce. That doesn't change, but the ranges change dramatically now that you only have one draw, and it's a no limit game. One, I didn't see if Zoinks did pat or true. I think Rhythm's got a probably checking 10-9-8 there is probably fine. You can also just bet small. I think that's one thing a lot of players don't do really well in this game when they're first learning this game is like they're so used to their bet sizing in no limit hold'em that they either kind of go big or they go a lot of times for like the check with the bluff catch. But you can also do some like small betting, and you should be doing small betting with obviously like a wide portion of your range too. I actually still haven't even checked if I can call here. I gotta check this. It says over here I can call 150, so it must mean that I have that option. So here we have a very, very, very strong 1-card draw. This is a hand where, again, depending on like what the action is here, we can consider shoving and drawing 1 because we just have like so many folds if we decide to shove and they don't have pat hands. This is one of those situations here where I think we're just going to make like a relatively big raise, and we're never. I don't think we ever pat the jack. I think we're just, come on, get down here. But we're going to make it like 40 something out of position. Yeah, and a lot of times, like usually, people know if they have a 1-card draw and they're up against a pat hand. Well, you're playing for all of it at that point, but they also know like calling a raise with a mediocre draw against a pat hand can be pretty costly in this game. But I was not ever planning on keeping that jack, especially to an under the gun raise. I still haven't seen if I can call the $3. I'm just gonna keep making that comment until I figure it out. I hope some of you guys are watching this video. Just let me know if you are, because I'm talking to myself here. Dosser took 1 and Mr. Shadow. Did Mr. Shadow take 2? Did I see that right? Let me go look at the hand history here and see how that one went. Yeah, easy fold here with no real draw. Let's see here. So Dosser opened 3x, and Mr. Shadow did call. Mr. Shadow drew 2, and Dosser drew 1. So in that situation where Mr. Shadow makes a straight, so obviously he has 0 showdown value. That's probably the hand he wants to bluff with. I mean, you can always make the case that, you're looking for your like 2 pair hands to block him, but I mean, obviously, when you have a 6, when you have a straight to the 6, you're still technically blocking. You have 5 cards that are blocking his range, so I think that's a situation where you probably want to go ahead and bet if you do have a leading range. Theoretically, he could decide to check raise, but that's a bold one, Cotton. And guys, if you keep leaving comments in your in the section below, I would really appreciate it. I've been getting some Omaha questions as of late. I would even say some pushback, and I just really appreciate it. I mean, not only does it keep me on my toes, but it yeah, I mean, it keeps me thinking about the game constantly. I would definitely say this is my best game. I mean, I can't even tell you how many hands I've played of Omaha 8 or better in my life. And I'd usually say, like, if I'm really close to like what I think is a call versus a fold, my guess is it's probably neutral EV after all these years. Rhythm seems like he's had some connection issues in the last week or so. So yeah, he would defend the 8873. Kind of close on the flop, but I think this just becomes a check call. We have a 7. We have some backdoor diamonds. We have a really crappy low draw. Go ahead on flop and check call. Check raising. Turn is actually a pretty good card for us. Gives us a diamond draw, and obviously, like, my 8s are, I think, a little bit stronger now when the upper board pairs. I don't think I'm gonna do any leading here with 8s. Like, I think I should definitely do some leading on some boards, but I think 8s are fine check. And then on this river here, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and check call. 8, 9, 6, 8. Yeah, like this 5 here against this bet on flop check back. Usually he's gonna make nut low. Like, I think in that situation, my hand, like, I tend to have the best high hand, but he could also just be checking back like kings with no low draw, or something that might theoretically beat me. And I guess theoretically, even by saying that, when I get to the river, I have a low. But I just think like check calling with 2 8s and an 8-3 low on that board is probably a little bit better than betting. Even though my explanation, I'm trying to convince myself to find a bet on that river. But I also think the way the hand plays out, I don't think I get any hand that's better to fold either way. I think I'm going to get looked up by anything. So I think checking probably does make some sense. Wow, interesting hand here. Full house, and I did not see what Mr. Shadow had, but I'm going to go back and look at that one. It looks like that was a fun one. Looked like everyone kind of just played their hand fine. So let's see this one here. Zoinks raised. Dosser 3-bet. Shadow caps. And, well, I don't think it's a cap technically, but whatever. Shadow bets. Dosser 3-bets. Call, great. Turn queen, Zoinks make full house. Dosser bet. Zoinks calls, interesting. River 3. Bet, call. And he calls with queens full. Man, I might have put the extra I might have put the extra bet in there, honestly. We do see that Queens did have queens full, double suited. These both these hands I think are played correctly. I don't the only question is should Swinks put in an extra bet with queens full? Yeah, maybe you can make the case that calling is actually better. Again, limit 08. I'm not explaining the game. I'm trying to get through my thought process here, but limit 08, obviously, last hand. There's always going to be a high. So the best Omaha high hand is going to get half the pot. And if there is a qualifying low, so 3 cards on the board unpaired, 8 or better, and 2 cards in your hand that doesn't match it. So on this board right here, there is a low. So 3-4 would be the nut low. Ace deuce 4-5 is a pretty strong hand here. So he's got aces and deuces with the 4-5. 4-5 is the third nut low. Limit hold'em. For all you people who play no limit hold'em, this is the min raise game. This game is pretty well solved, and there's a lot of stuff you can find out there. So if you want a good like primer on some of the how a lot of the solver stuff works, Chris Fitch has a YouTube channel where he just does Pio like on hands that he played. So if you go to his channel, it's at Death Donkey on YouTube, just like his handle on X or Twitter as they call it. 7-5 here, muck. But he does he runs some high limit sims. King. Man, Dosser's running hot today. King 9 off here would be a defend against anyone's open raise in the big blind. Don't think we're doing any 3-betting against the small blind here with the offsuit version of this hand. Probably suited hand, we do some weird stuff. On this flop here with King High, I think we do peel once. We do not turn I think we turn King High here into a bluff, and then we river King, so it's obviously lovely. Oh, he does hit the 10-6. Interesting. Not quite sure if I should turn the King 9 into a bluff on the turn there, just because I don't have a straight draw. I think like King 7 is probably a better one to consider doing it with. And I'm not sure if Rhythm even folds like ace highs there. So I'm not quite sure if my hand is a good candidate to turn into a bluff or not. My guess is, now thinking about it, probably isn't. But I got lucky and got away with that one. Be actually an interesting one to... I might just pull that one up for... if I... Eventually, I'm sure I'll do a 5-hand review with Chris on Limit Hold'em, so that would actually be a good one to do with, I think. So maybe we'll throw that one into the solver in the future. It's kind of the beauty of Limit Hold'em in general. I mean, it's kind of the beautiness. It's like the beautiful part of the game and the unfortunate part of the game, because obviously, you know, people who study the sims and study the solution of the game are going to be really, really, really good. But at the same time, too, you can go find a solution. So. All right, heat check, Dosser. I think he did get 4 bets, so he's just going to have queen jack here, isn't he? Oh, sorry, he's got ace queen, I guess. My bad. Oh, what does this look like? Dosser's got ace jack, maybe? I'm trying to think of like what the range here looks like. I don't think Dosser's calling here with like any under pair to the board. He could have eights theoretically just because he had a straight draw, but that might make the most sense. Could have, I guess, some ace 10, some ace 9. All right, 7-card stud here. I'm sure this is another one that a bunch of you guys don't play that very often. Here's obvious steal here, 3 overcards to both boards. This is something in like a 7 or 8-handed game. We don't necessarily do 100%, but in a 4-handed game, we're going to do a fair bit of stealing. So basically, you're going to get dealt 3 cards, a 4 street, a 5th street, a 6th street, and a 7th street. And the best poker hand is going to win all the money. Ace King 9 here. We're going to be basically raising like close to 100%, I would say, of our up aces against a low bring-in. Same thing kind of here. If Dosser folds, then we're going to raise the Ace King 8 against both these players. Like Dosser's got a lot of steals here. When he folds, my steal percentage even goes like obviously even higher. But yeah, I mean, we're not folding because even if Mr. Shadow here has like split 4s, we have 3 overcards, plus we got a flush draw, plus we got a straight draw. Like this is saying here, we're not folding. We're seeing we open pair aces, and then Mr. Shadow like almost always has to fold there unless he's got maybe a flush draw. King's up, he's got to continue, and like trips either one of the trip combinations. This one I think I'm still gonna go ahead and steal. This is a pretty raggedy hand, but seems like I haven't gotten too much pushback yet, so I'm just running hot and stud. And again, I got I blocked the 4, and I had 2 overcards to the 4, and I had 3 overcards to the 3. King Jack 8 here with a ace and a 9 behind. This one I'm going to let go. I think at a later date too, when we do some reviews with Chris, we'll talk about, or at least we'll try to talk about some basic stud strategy with like how do you play your re-steals or your re-steals, etc. Sorry, turning my heater off. Here against the 10, we're just mark this one. And sometimes the stud rounds just go like that, like no one makes it past 4th street, but it's also kind of the name of the game. Badugi here, 7-5, 4-3-2 is the best low hand. 5-4-3-2 rainbow is the best high hand. What am I talking about? 7-5-4-3-2 is the best low hand. 5-4-3-2 rainbow is the best Badugi. I'm playing any stud over here. Aces play high. Flushes and straights do count against you in the deuce to 7 round. But if you're playing a flush or straight, you are in trouble. Where are we at in the mix? I don't even know right now. Badugi, no limit. What do we start with? Badugi? I guess we started with Badugi, so see if we get the whole shebang in. I don't know if Zonks took 1 or 2, but I think Dosser played his hand fine. But if Zonks took 2 and Dosser had 10-10, he should bet. Too much equity on both sides. And if Dosser folds here, we'll open the 2-5 and then Mr. Shadow, but fold if he opens. Again, if you're looking for some really in-depth Omaha, or I would say split pot game theory, you can go. Do I have the book in here? I'm looking in my office right now and trying to see if I have the mathematics of poker floating around. Let me see if I can go find it. Give me a second. We do have it. 4-5-8 against Dosser's open and cutoff here. I'm going to 3-bet this one. This is probably getting close to my bottom of my range, to be honest, but I think this is fine. Takes 1, So he didn't 4-bet me, so I don't think he's got too many Badugis here. He could have a rough one, I think, theoretically, but we're just gonna play it like this. Yeah, we've seen some significant pairs, but now I kind of have a timing tell. I was debating just betting, but I think I'm just gonna go ahead and check back and draw one, even though I do have the straight draw. And he does pad in position now. Now, like drawing one is my best option. I don't think it's close. And we do make the pair doogie, unfortunately. Hopefully he's got a 2 card. 2. Wow. He's got 2, 4, 5 and put no more action in with that hand. Interesting. I'm just trying to think because I think I would have bet the first draw with it. If he keeps the wheel drawn, he's got 2, 3, 4, 5, which most likely he did. Having a 3 card 5 in that situation when I decided to check back on both streets makes me think that he might have missed a little bit of value there. Let's see here. So I did find the Mathematics Poker, and ironically, this might be the best conditioned book I have in my collection somehow. 357 in Badugi. See if I can find the page here of the Split Pot game book. If you guys have this book at home. 357, we're going to check call draw 2. We improve our deuce draw, but we have no Badugi. So we have 3, 4, 5. We've improved. We've seen a 5, a 7. Draw 2 again now. And we do not improve. We pair a 3 too. Kind of close here. Getting a little better than 3 to 1. We have a 3 card 5. Fortunately, I'm like no real draw with it. I still think I'm going to call and draw 2 out of position here. Yeah, we make an 8 Badugi, but I'm just going to go ahead and check call. Wow, interesting. I scoop him. I don't know if that was a bluff or a value. I guess that was somewhat of a value bet because he had ace-ace. Yeah, that makes some sense on his part. I don't know if I would value bet that thin though. It's kind of close, I guess. Here with the 3, 5, 4, 7, we're just going to go ahead because he's really short and open and draw 3 at the 3, 5. We make 3, 5, 6, 9. And go ahead and check call trot 2 again. Oh, he's only got $9 left. I should be paying attention here. Kind of the same thing here. He bets we're going to just call draw. And in Badugi, I think I'm just going to draw 2 again just in case he's got a Badugi. He does have queen. He'd have a queen. Does he have a queen? Yeah, he has got a queen. Six, 8, and 1, and no limit hold'em. Big ante. I think this is a fold. This is probably really close given the ante, to be completely honest. 7, 8 is definitely an open, but I wasn't going to limp the 6, 8. And I'm still looking for that page. So let me see if I can find it here. Backing agreements. Interesting. Man, you know, I have such a better concept of math now that I probably should just go back and read this again. But when you have kids, when you have kids, it's really hard. Let me see if I can find it. Where's this thing at? Get a walk. We'll take it. So, forward, yes. Got the 8-6 again. Hot hand on the night. There's doubles. Plus, obviously, let that one go. Uh, 6, 7 here. I think we are going to open this one. Oh, I think I will like this a lot more now. I definitely have much more understanding of like the risk section and GTO. So be a little bit, so I can be interesting. Where is the split pot game part? I'm just got my frustrations going on the microphone. Badugi, so 4, 3, 2, 1 rainbow, best hand. If you don't have a Badugi, the best 3 cards going to win. You always count down from the top to bottom. Play this one first and see if we can find the Omaha. See the split pot version here. 2 to 2. If DOS were bet here, I'd kind of be in a pickle because I got Mr. Shadow behind me who could obviously raise too. But I think we're going to go ahead and check call and draw 2 again. Probably would keep an 8 here, but at a position where I get my... Wow, interesting. Now I'm still in a pickle. Because basically by him betting in this situation, he's basically saying he's got a really strong 2 card. And if he gets this really strong 3 card, he might decide to raise. So I'm going to give this one up here. Now, he did make a king regardless. And then Dosser could go ahead and back raise me, so that would be obviously a pretty bad nightmare with a pretty mediocre draw. Come on, where you at? These 4 on the button. I think Dosser actually has a fair bit of 2 card opens there in the cutoff. So I might 3-vet him a little wider than most people, but well, I guess he just has it here. Yeah, I'd probably still recommend. Even if this book is somewhat a little bit dated, I still think this book has so much good, just basic math and stuff that you need to kind of understand to be a really good player nowadays. That it's probably really a good book still to this day. 3 card 8 cutoff open, and then our draw is not great, so. But I might have to turn this one into a snow at some point. I'm still going to just check, and then if give me an opportunity, maybe just give up. Don't think I can win at showdown here, but I still think I'm going to go ahead and bet. And we get that one through. And obviously he probably had a rough draw as well, but I highly doubt it was as rough as my hand. Yeah, every single Badugi we have in this situation against a small blind open. Step pat. And then if I think Dosser probably knows that I have like 100% of Badugis here. This is definitely one of them that I don't necessarily love, but kind of a fun one here. Whether I was talking to Chris about this the other day, whether we ever check back, but I think like people in general will tend to give up some of their weaker draws, so I think this is totally fine. Here against Mr. Shadow, we're just going to go ahead and try to pat the king and get to showdown. The thing is he now this is a really interesting like tournament situation. Like I think he can do some really funky things here. I think he can like try to do some shake and bake stuff against me when he improves to 1 card draw. But man, this is a brutal one, so I think I'm going to break it. But he did have a 7, so I don't feel too bad about it now. Like in a tournament situation there, if your opponent has a pretty wide Badugi range, you can try to get him to break the Badugi. And have your 3 card hold up. But yeah, I still think if I made an 8 there, I was going to have a chance, but I was drawing dead anyway, so I guess I should just look at the index. There should be an index, right? All right, stud 8 better here with the ace up, wheel card. Extra overcard to the 9 and the 10. This just becomes a pretty easy steal four-handed. Dosser catches really good. I catch okay, but I still think I'm gonna peel here. And he catches 3 clubs and I catch 3 low cards. And I actually think this is gonna be one where I'm just gonna go ahead and check back because my range is relatively wide. And kind of the same thing here too. Like I do make 4 low cards, but I still think he continues given the fact that I check 5th Street back, and then I'm just gonna give up. I don't think my deuces here are probably ever good, but hey, they are good. All right. But I don't think Dosser, once he catches the ace of clubs and then catches the king of clubs, against my, say, quote unquote steal there, has a lot of folds. So I think that I want to check back in that situation. It's interesting whether that would actually be like a theoretical GTO exploit. I don't have the answer for that. But a lot of times I think if you actually put yourself in like tournament situations, it seems like GTO has like some weird, I've never seen this player before, has some weird stuff like that. So I think most people would just consider like betting because they catch the 3rd low card, but I think he's continuing. My hand's just doing so poorly. Obviously this is a defend against Zoinks. And then my hand's obviously super hitting here. I have split aces, and he catches an ace, so it doesn't look like it there. And he did open the queen, so I expect to get bet into now. I could do some like hiding in my range, but I'm just gonna go ahead and raise the aces. Aces here tend to be the best hand. Unless I'm like up against like queens and 4s or something like that. I do have a flush draw now. That's interesting that he decides to bet again with a flush draw. So I don't expect him to have 10 and jack, plus I block a king. And 2 aces, obviously, so I'm going to go ahead and raise again. And I'm probably going to check this one back. And hopefully I just didn't put too many bets in, but... And he did just have queens. Occasionally I wouldn't go for the extra bet on bitch 6th Street when he bets into me, but I also had the flush draw, so if I was wrong about who had what there, I had extra outs. And I think that is an important concept. Like, if you're going to make tight reads, you know, it's super nice to have an extra, nice to have some extra backup. Here again, like, this is just another good steal position. I don't know if I would steal with, like, 10-9 offsuit here. But obviously with an extra wheel card here, this is a relatively easy steal. All right, deuce a 7 triple draw. Where are we in this mix now? We've played... Where do we start with? Badugi? I think we start with Badugi. I've gone off on so many tangents, so going to find books for you guys, and there's no script here. 1.5 clairvoyance. Clairvoyance game. Where's... Skalansky, man, that is a name. I give Skalansky though a lot of credit. Like, you know, at the time he was, he was ahead of the game mathematically. But I also think there's so much to be said about, like, you know, who were beating the games back then, crushing the games back then, versus like who was writing theory. And I don't think Skalansky was playing in like any super big games back then. But you know, you had, you know, your Doyles and your Chip Reeses and some of those other guys, and you know, I know there's been some controversy in the past about like, you know, what they were possibly doing or not doing, but you know, there's a big difference between like theory and actual play. And I think there's something to always take that into account. I still can't find the split portion here. I gotta find it. I'm gonna call here with the deuce 6 and draw 3 in the big blind for 1 bet. Well, that did not go as planned. I don't think we have any blockers at this point, so 2-3-1. My guess is this is always just gonna check Mr. Shadow. And yeah, we're just gonna give up. No, I saw him end up with a jack and a queen, and I did not see how they got there. So it must have been, I think it went Pat 1? Not sure. I don't even know if I can look at it yet. I think that's going to load. So 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, Pat 1. Okay. 3-6 here in the small. Well, what do we got left? We got PLO. So we'll play the end of the deuce, and then we'll play the PLO. Because it is kind of interesting with the big antes. And then if I ever find where the split plot decision parts of this game are, I will put them in the comment section. Or if anyone knows where they're at, let me know. I think I just saw the graph actually soon in the book. Oh, man, I'm so tilted at myself for not finding it right now. And honestly, don't do this because I'm not even paying attention to the game. So this is not recommended. Streaks play, how do you know where that's... All right, PLO cats. Maybe we'll play the Badugi round just for gets and giggles. But again, PLO, obviously, like you guys play PLO, should know it. But the only difference here is the structure. It's a 40 big blind cap, and we have a fair bit of limps. Like I would say, like most queen highs without the triple suit here. We do a lot of limping. I think I'm gonna float Dosser here just because I think like he's trying to take a fair bit of and he decides to bet big on turn, so just gonna go ahead and fold. Like, but in this game we do a fair bit of limping in this game, and the only difference here is like you can theoretically raise almost 5x pre-flop. So Dosser here chooses that size. I think this is still a call here indecision though, given the ante. This is definitely a board that I think that's gonna hit him more than me, and he bets pot. So my guess is like on this board, SPR of 5, he only has like pot size bets on this board texture, and then we just give up here with nothing else except middle pair. A6, 7, 7 here. And limp small blind. Flop set of 7s. And probably have more aces in our range, so we're going to go ahead and bet small. Don't think I want to do too much trapping on there. Like I have an ace, I have a 7, and limp this one too. I think you guys might be calling me crazy right now just because I'm doing a lot of limping, but for sure there's a ton of limping when you start increasing an ante over the big blind, even when there's like one ante. Same thing here. We're just going to go ahead and bet relatively small on this board. That one does work and gets through. Don't like having necessarily big blockers, but I think the king knight hits me more in his 100% range, or not 100% range, but I'd say probably like 30 to 100% range. Oh, this becomes now an easy fold. I think my hand is actually close for 3x. I obviously don't love the makeup of the hand, given that I have like an offsuit 9 with it, but it's probably close. And then I don't think Dosser's 3-bet there is correct, just given the fact of like what I know. He probably wants a double suited version of that hand if he's gonna do it. I think that's usually the problem at like 40 bets with 9 high. Is like you're gonna flop a little bit something if you get it in, you're sometimes in trouble. So I'd like to run that one. And I think Zoinks plays his hand fine. Like the raise sizing again, this is I don't know if I would open this hand for like a 3x. I'd probably go ahead and limp this hand. That's just me. And then you know, like if you're like 300 big bets deep, my guess is that probably becomes a 3-bet. But at 40 big bets, I'm not sure if that's the case with 6, 7, 8, 9. I'd have to run that one or see if I can find somewhere to run that one or check it. All right, Badugi here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is the best low. 4, 3, 2, ace is the best Badugi. We are going to call here and draw 3. What do we got? We don't have a heart. We're going to throw the heart away. Do make a 7, so we do improve to a 3-card 7 here. So we'll call again and draw 2. If Dosser does not check raise, which he does. That's man, really? I mean, that's kind of all right. In a 2-3-3 spot, I would not expect your opponents to do too much betting in that situation. So, like he's repping a pretty strong hand here. And he's got a wheel with a 3-card. I would probably just go ahead and bet his hand, to be completely honest. But yeah, it worked out. I mean, he definitely should check raise there occasionally. I think people tend to over check raise that spot. But like in a 2-3-3 spot, I think it's going to just check through so often. And then when you're all of a sudden pat, you know, your opponent's alarm bell should be going off. I actually think this is going to be the last hand because I think we got Raz next and this video is getting a little bit longer. But yeah, we'll play this one out. But again, if you guys like what you see, like, subscribe, comment below. Oh my goodness, we make a number 1 Badugi on the last hand. So in a 3-3 spot here, obviously, like, I still am probably going to have the range advantage, like, when I improve, just because got position. I'm going to have probably the best 2-card, 3-card draws. You know, 2-1. I'm just open to not pair on this last one. Nut. And nut is going to be a raise on the river. Wow, and he only calls with 6-6. Lost some value there. Maybe I'm just too tight. Well, again, as always, guys, if you like what you see, please like, subscribe, comments down below. If my side notes today were a little bit too long, let me know. Yeah, and anything else about what I can do to improve and get better, just let me know. Also, again, if you're looking to open a Phenom account, use the link below. That would really help me out. And again, if you send in an hour video recording, I will upload it to YouTube with commentary, or you can do it with me as well. If you want an example on the YouTube channel, there is Flurry. We did a 3-part series going over his play and discussing it, and I'm more than happy to keep doing it. So until then, good luck at the tables. Play well. I will talk to you guys soon. Oh, you know what I'll do? I'm going to look for that Omaha Hello section and get it back to you. Hold on, I'm going to pause it. So I did find the page. It's part 3 in optimal play, example 18.1, called the 0-1x 0-1 game. It's on page 230, 231, and 232. Now, this is, if you have the book, you know how in-depth the math is in this book. I mean, you have to be pretty well-versed in at least algebra to kind of like understand what they're talking about. But it also talks about, it definitely talks about like what you're kind of looking for in your strategy in high-low games. I would say like betting factors in a graph. There is a, I would say there's somewhat of an important graph here that gives you kind of a a general concept where they talk about like high hand value and low hand value and like, what your range is and what your like betting patterns and what you should be considering doing in certain spots. But if you're interested in that, it is in the Mathematics of Poker 230 to 232. So until then, again, as always, bye-bye.